In our previous videos, we've created our app, and we've seen that it is actually running on Heroku. So now let's have a think about what we need to do to move our code from Cloud9 over to our new Heroku server. Deploying to Heroku is similar to deploying to GitHub Pages. We can just push our code to the Git URL that Heroku provides. We can also link a GitHub repository to Heroku to deploy automatically from GitHub. But in this video, we're just going to push directly. There are 4 things needed in order to push our code to Heroku. Firstly, we needed to have created a Heroku app, which is what we did in our previous couple of videos. Secondly, we need to link our local Git repository to Heroku, which is what we're going to do in this video. Thirdly, we're going to need to create a requirements.txt file which contains a list of our dependencies. We discussed this in core Python, you may remember, and we're going to do that in our next video. And finally, we need to create a proc file, which is a special kind of file that tells Heroku how to run our project. And we'll do that in the final video of this section. In this video then, we're going to link our local Git repository to Heroku. In order to do that, we need to go back to Cloud9 and to our terminal window, and we're going to run git space status. And that will tell me that I haven't created a Git repository yet. So let's do git space init to initialize an empty repository, git space add space full stop to add all of the files to the staging area, and then git space commit space -m, and I'm going to give initial deployment as my message. Now if I run git space remote space -v to give me verbose output about the remotes that I have, then at the moment I don't get any output because I haven't linked any remotes. When we go back to my Heroku dashboard, I can see that there are different ways that I can create a remote using Heroku. Or what we can just do is use the URL that Heroku gave us and create it the same as we would if we were adding to GitHub. On my settings page then, we can see that I have a Heroku Git URL, and this is the same URL that we saw when we renamed our app. The only difference is that in the Heroku dashboard it's still using the old data before I renamed the app. As we can see there, it still has the typo in the name. So if I just refresh my page to get the latest data, I'll get a 404 error at first because it's looking for the page with the typo. So I'm going to update my URL to the correct one with company spelled correctly. And now I'm going to just copy my Heroku Git URL here. Okay, so go back to my Cloud9 and I'm just going to type clear here to clear up my terminal a little bit to make it easier to see. And now I need to add my Heroku Git URL as a remote. So just paste that in. So git space remote space add. We're going to refer to this one as Heroku instead of origin, and then the Heroku Git URL. Now when I run a git space remote space -v, you can see that it gives me the Heroku Git URL. So now I can do git space push space -u space Heroku space master, and it's going to try and push my code up to Heroku. When we try that, we get an error because it says that no default language can be detected for this app. We know that our language is Python, but at the moment Heroku doesn't. To fix this, we need to create our requirements.txt file, which will list all of the dependencies needed for this app. We'll do that in our next video.